In a recent address to the Resolution Foundation think tank, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt acknowledged the detrimental effects of Brexit on Britain's political landscape and economic growth. Hear, hear. He attributed the ongoing political instability, which has persisted for over 5 years, to the divisive nature of the Brexit referendum and the subsequent challenges in navigating the UK's withdrawal from the European Union. Hunt specifically highlighted the impact of Brexit on Theresa May's government, stating that the inability of Parliament to reach a consensus on the terms of the UK's exit led to significant political turmoil and ultimately contributed to May's resignation. This period of political instability, coupled with a subsequent COVID-19 pandemic, has undermined business confidence and investment in Britain, hindering economic growth. Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has acknowledged that the political instability caused by Brexit has undermined Britain's economy. In a speech on Monday, Hunt said that the 2016 Brexit referendum had created years of political chop and change, which made it difficult for businesses to invest and grow. He also acknowledged that the COVID-19 pandemic had exacerbated the situation, but not caused it. He attributes the ongoing political instability to the divisive nature of the Brexit referendum and, as I said, the subsequent challenges in navigating the UK's withdrawal from the EU. The political turmoil and economic uncertainty have undermined business confidence and investment. And the Chancellor's remarks underscore the need to address the ongoing challenges stemming from Brexit. Hunt's comments are a significant departure from the previous government's stance on Brexit. The Conservative Party under Prime Minister Boris Johnson had consistently argued that Brexit would be a boon for the UK economy. However, the reality has been different, with the UK economy experiencing slower growth than its neighbours since the 2016 referendum. And Hunt's comments are likely to be welcomed by businesses and economists who have long warned that Brexit would damage the UK economy. However, they will also be seen as a concession by the government that Brexit has been not the success that it was promised to be. The UK economy is currently facing a number of challenges, including rising inflation, high energy prices, and a weakening pound. Brexit has undoubtedly played a role in these challenges, and Hunt's comments are a sign that the government is finally starting to face up to the reality of the situation. It remains to be seen whether Hunt's comments will lead to a change in government policy on Brexit. However, they are a significant admission that Brexit has not been the economic success that it was promised to be. And Chancellor Jeremy Hunt acknowledges the detrimental effects of Brexit on Britain's political stability and economic growth. But Brexit definitely is a gift that keeps on giving. Major airlines' monopoly over lucrative airport landing slots could as well be at risk as the government explores reforming the system following the UK's exit from the European Union. The Department for Transport launched a consultation on how airport slots are allocated with an eye to giving passengers smoother getaways and cheaper prices. Slots operate like parking spaces for planes, managing capacity and giving airlines permission to use the full range of airport infrastructure for a set period of time. Change to slot leasing means spaces, largely owned by big carriers such as British Airways and EasyJet, could be handed to smaller competitors with cheaper prices if they are not used after a set period. The UK currently still operates under a system based on EU regulations. The government said in its statement that aviation should no longer be shackled by an outdated regime which has remained unchanged over the last 2 decades. Aviation Minister Anthony Brown said, "For decades the UK aviation industry was subject to European rules that didn't have the UK's interest at heart, but as it goes from strength to strength following the pandemic, it needs a system that will empower it not constrain it. This consultation will bring the sector to the forefront of decision-making, helping to end monopolies within the slot regime, drive healthy competition between airlines, and make the aviation sector more dynamic for the future, while also benefiting millions of passengers. So far the promise. Both British Airways and EasyJet, the dominant airlines at Heathrow and Gatwick respectively, declined to comment on the consultation though. I can imagine why. The proposals come amid concern over rising airfares globally, influenced by a combination of aircraft production issues, soaring demand for travel, and the transition to renewable fuels. European airfares increased by between 20 to 30% over the summer compared with their pre-pandemic equivalents, according to data from the European Union released following a parliamentary question. Karen Dee, Chief Executive of the Airport Operators Association, said about this, "Slots reform is an opportunity to improve the efficiency of the UK aviation system, and this consultation is a welcome step in that direction." But experts questioned the suggestion that increased competition over the spaces would bring about cheaper flying at all. Paul Charles, the chief executive of travel consultancy, the PC agency, told media that the review would be hotly contested by airlines who have baked in slot values into their balance sheets. Some carriers may benefit from more open trading of slots, but I can't see how consumers will see fares come down due to this review. Pricing is more dictated by inflation, fuel prices, and airport passenger fees, he said. And John Grant, a senior analyst at aviation analytics firm OAG, said the proposals would not necessarily affect pricing. Changing the UK slot rules won't result in any more capacity at the UK's major airports, and that is what drives pricing ultimately. Yeah, but so much about the promises, and Britain's big promises to boost the financial sector post-Brexit and the global competitiveness have also been a damn squib, with many of the changes yet to be implemented and none so far having a substantial impact, as lawmakers said in a report on Friday. A year ago, Chancellor Jeremy Hunt set out his Edinburgh reforms to improve the city's attraction to global investors, made easier now that Britain and not the European Union writes the rules for banks but also insurers and asset managers. Pressure to ease rules mounted after UK chip designer ARM Holdings chose to list in New York in September. And changes such as easing London Stock Exchange listing rules were trailed as the Big Bang 2.0, a reference to landmark deregulation in the 1980s that helped to turn the city into a global force in finance. Since Brexit, London faces competition from EU centres, with Amsterdam overtaking the UK capital to become Europe's biggest share trading centre, and the EU adopting many of the same reforms to markets outlined by Hunt. We welcome many of the changes as logical, essential and sensible measures. We do, though, question the validity of claims that welcoming consultations, establishing reviews or publishing documents should be considered reforms. That was said by Harriet Baldwin, the chair of Parliament's Treasury Select Committee, which wrote the report. The Edinburgh reforms were given considerable fanfare last December, but 12 months on, the lack of progress or economic impact has left them feeling like a damp squib. Separately, City Minister Bim Afolabi said the government has delivered 22 of the 31 Edinburgh reforms, with plans in place to deliver on the last 9. Regulators on Friday proposed improvements to consumer access to financial advice, he said. Already companies worldwide are taking note of the UK's approach, and we will continue to deliver on our reforms as we make the UK the best place in the world, world beating again, to create and grow a business, is what Afolabi said in a statement. The report found that 6 already delivered actions are not yet complete, and a further 6 only involve publishing a document or welcoming a public consultation. None would have a substantial impact on the economy, though. Implementing changes is taking too long, often stalled at the finance ministry, as lawmakers said, adding that reforms that make the most difference should now be prioritized. But all the big Brexit benefits that were promised are still not here, and I don't see them come either, because changes in the financial market, changes in aviation, will all have effects in the end on access to the EU market. But if you want to know something else right now, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.